The following clip is from a previously recorded episode of the Cherish Each Moment podcast. Quick local story that I want to share with you. I do intend to continue to keep you updated on our drought situation here out west, particularly in Utah. There was a new bill that was created, and it's now making its way through the Utah House of Representatives. That would make it so government or private entities like HOAs can't require residents to have a lawn. Pretty interesting. So the idea here is to give more homeowners a choice with how they landscape their yards, which could result in conserving water, depending on how the homeowners choose to go with this. But the idea is that they are not going to be restricted by an HOA, because HOAs a lot of the time require you to have a lawn and to make sure the lawn is well kept and green and all that stuff. And so this here is going to say that HOAs can't require you to have a lawn. They can't put that in their rules, and the homeowner can choose whether they want to have a lawn and go with that, or if they want to do something alternative like a xeriscape or something like that. I like this idea. I'm a fan, mainly because I hate HOAs. And any chance to take away power from an HOA is a win, in my opinion. For the record, I don't live in an HOA. You probably could have guessed that. And I never plan to live in an HOA because I don't like being told how my home and my property should look and what I can and cannot do on my property. And I can't imagine paying a monthly fee to have people watch me all the time and tell me I'm not in compliance with their stupid rules. No, thank you. There are a lot of HOAs in Utah, particularly in the bigger, more established cities. And from what I can tell, a lot of them require lawns. And with a lot of people wanting to make the switch to xeriscaping, whether for the purpose of conserving water or simply because they have no desire to tend to a lawn, which is totally fair, there are people struggling to make that change because the HOA rules don't allow them to do that. I'm not trying to be political or anything like that, but I believe it's important for any aspect of any kind of civilization to give people a choice. Give them the options. Give them options, period, and let them decide which option they want. And if the next guy, in this case of landscaping here with this bill, if the next guy wants to have grass and rip out the xeriscaping that, say, the previous owner had done and plant a lawn, that's okay too. That's the beauty of choice and freedom. So, yeah, I think this is a good idea. HOAs shouldn't take issue with this either, although I have no doubt that there's going to be some HOA board member or president that will absolutely hate this and try and fight this until they can't anymore. I've read some amazing horror stories. Amazing horror stories online about HOAs, if you can't read into my bias here. My parents' house, before they moved here, their house in the Las Vegas area was in an HOA. And my dad would tell me stories regularly about his run-ins with the HOA. A lot of dumb stuff. You don't have a tree in the front yard, or you can only paint your house certain colors, or the front door can't be that color. The ironic thing, one of the most ironic stories he told me was he wanted to repaint the exterior of his house, and he went to the HOA office, told him what he wanted to do. They said, that's fine. Here are paint codes for the colors that you can choose from to paint your house. He said, okay, great. Went down to the hardware store, that supposedly they told him this is where you can go get it. He went to the store, and none of those paint codes were valid anymore. They don't use them anymore. So he couldn't get paint to paint his house. He couldn't pick out a color because none of them existed anymore. So he had to go pick a color similar to one of those colors, I think is what he ended up doing, take it to the HOA office, and he's always one to say, get it in writing, just so you have that. So he went to the HOA office, got it approved in writing that he could paint his house this color, gave him the sample, left it with them. So I don't need that. I don't want that. I just don't see the point. Obviously, there's pros to HOAs. I understand that. But the cons, in my opinion, far outweigh, and the potential cons and potential issues that can arise from an HOA just doesn't work for me. Doesn't do it. You give the wrong people positions of power, and it doesn't take them long to demonstrate how crazy they are. It sounds kind of familiar. Anyways, HOAs can still establish rules, and this is just my opinion here, going off of this build. They can still establish rules around how they define proper landscape, whether the homeowner chooses to have a lawn or xeriscape. And xeriscaping can be quite beautiful. There are some really great xeriscaped yards out there that I've seen. There's several here in Utah, even in my neighborhood. People that have, it's like they do river rock, or they do natural grass plants, native plants and grasses. Very low maintenance, require little to no water, which is the whole point. Obviously, it's not my cup of tea, but you can not have grass and still have an attractive yard that complements your home and complements the overall look of the neighborhood.